Dan Illman, Mike Pierre, kicking off a 50-cent pick four on Friday evening at Penn National. It's Penn Mile evening at Penn National. Race number 5 is the Penn Oaks. We're going a mile on the turf. These are 3-year-old fillies. Let's take a peek at this field. I talked to Safi Joseph, the trainer of the number 1 Violet Gibson, on Wednesday morning. He told me he's expecting to scratch Violet Gibson, so consider that as we throw up our Timeform US pace projector. And remember to go to timeformus.com once scratches are made official. This pace projector will update. There'll be a new LP. Another horse will have the fastest late pace flag designation. Mike, we take a look at the pace for this race. Hide Right Away, the number 2's trying turf for the first time, stepping up off a maiden win. She has some speed. Princess Bettina went gate to wire in a stake last time out, but she's also run well from off of the pace. I think she'll be a little bit closer than when Timeform US has her in here, but it's kind of an interesting situation from a pace standpoint. Other than the 2, I don't really see any blazers.
Yeah, you're right. There's not a ton of pace in this race. So it will be interesting to see how it all plays out. I guess the 2 is just, if they're going to run that filly here, I mean, I guess she's just supposed to go and just see what happens. Even if she does make the lead, that just feels like one of those long shots that nobody's really going to be that worried about on the front end in this race. Princess Bettina, I think you're right. She's the most interesting horse from a pace perspective, because I actually like the fact that they got a little aggressive with her last time and put her on the lead, because I felt like she was a little bit compromised in some of her earlier races off the pace.
Violet Gibson, the number 1, expected to scratch. If she did run here, she'd be a strong contender to be sure, based on her 2 races, buyers of 77 and 76. But we're not expecting to see her on Friday, so we'll start things off with the 2, Hide Right Away. This horse just got right to the front against maidens on the dirt, going 3/4 at Pimlico. A week later, she's listed as a vet scratch on dirt there. She's got a little bit of turf pedigree. The dam won overseas in Italy, her career debut. She's got speed. She's probably going to get loose in this race, and she'll probably be able to set her own fractions. I'm just not sure she's ready for this from a class standpoint.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, she looked good winning last time. This is a situation, though, if they're going to run her in this race, I mean, I don't even really care if she makes the lead in here, Dan. She's just not a horse I'd be that afraid of.
Melly Moo, the number 3, is a horse that I think's found some trouble in summer for races. Her North American debut, the wait a while, like many European horses, she just didn't break very well. She came with a good run and she got beat a length. In the Here Comes the Bride, she just raided the break and was taken back to mid-pack along the inside. And she then finished evenly without threatening. And last time out at Keeneland, she faced 3 next out winners and she got into a little bit of trouble as well. The problem is she is a one-run closer that needs some pace.
Yeah, it feels like this is really going to work against her. I mean, listen, who knows? Maybe that horse right to her inside, the first-time turf horse, Hide Right Away, maybe that horse will go to the front and set a legitimate pace in this race. It feels like she's a cinch to sort of come back to everybody in here. Maybe that will help set up this race a little bit for Melly Moo. Like you, I think she's going to need that, Dan. She ran fine last time, made up ground along with everybody else in there, though. That was a closer's race, and she was making up ground just like everybody else was.
Maybe the 4, Majestic Creed's going to try to show a little bit of speed along with the 2. She went gate to wire on dirt 2 starts back at Park. She didn't have the greatest start last time out, and maybe that kept her from getting forward. Even if she can get close to the pace after 10 starts, I'm not sure there's a ton of upside here. The Dam, however, was a stakes winner on turf as this filly makes her grass debut.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing, even listen, I don't like this horse in here, and I would never pick her in this race. But at least if you want to, pick a front running horse to be afraid of, it's probably Majestic Creed. There's a little turf pedigree. This horse has won 3 times, Dan. All 3 times when she made the lead, and she just blew those fields out, almost like a horse who gets really, really brave when she makes the early lead.
I wonder if last time was the time for Princess Bettina. Mike, you mentioned some of her races compromised by trip, compromised by pace. Well, Frankie Dettori didn't worry about that last time out in the China Dow, where he just went right to the front on the first turn, cleared off, got a breather on the back stretch, strinked it on home, and looked good doing it. Now, if this Princess Bettina shows up at Penn National on Friday, she's going to be dangerous as she makes her first start for Todd Pletcher. She's also won from off the pace in the past. She's a logical contender. I'm not sure she has a tremendous edge where you want to go crazy if she goes off at 7-5 or so, but she fits.
Yeah, she does. She's a dangerous horse in here. I liked the ride that they gave her last time because I felt like she was due one of those races where they just sort of let her do all the running in a race and not rely on other horses to set things up for her, because some of those losses leading into that day, she ran really well in races that where she didn't have the best of it. They took no prisoners last time. I thought she was really impressive.
I think Metaphysical is an interesting long shot in here for Javier Castellano, moving back to her best surface, which is the turf. And two back in the Sanibel Island. I thought she ran pretty well that day. She must have been hung out 4 wide throughout, didn't get much cover. She turns into the stretch here, and Metaphysical is still in with a chance for this. And she's a really late to change leads. She's no match for the winner, Breathaway, who would come back to finish second in a stake at Pimlico, but she grinds it out. And once she does change leads, she gets up for second somehow in a blanket finish for the place.
Yeah, it's going to be a blanket finish here. She will get second, but she didn't run as well as the winner. She had a tougher trip than the winner, though, as you mentioned, sort of hung up on the outside all the way. I thought she ran pretty well in all three of those turf starts at Gulfstream over the winter, Dan, and she's going to be a price in here.
Miss New York, the number 7, is going to wheel back on 2 weeks rest after running in the Hilltop at Pimlico, and she was in against a pretty good field in there, arguably a better field than the one she's going to be facing on Friday. That being said, she really didn't run her best in that race. I wonder if there are some class concerns.
I have some class concerns with her, Dan. She ran fine last time. I didn't think she ran great. And we'll see how this field stacks up with that one. There are a couple of fillies in here who, if nothing else, it feels like they have a ton of upside. This filly was compromised 2 starts back. That was on a different surface, though.
Speaking of upside, the number 8, Selenaya, has only raced 3 times. She has won her last 2 starts, including her seasonal debut off a lengthy layoff. This race at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. She saved ground every step of the way. She didn't for a second look like there was going to be anywhere to go, and then she just got an absolute dream run up the inside. She fires in the stretch, but this trip really worked out for her.
Yeah, it opened up for her at the top of the stretch. You could see it, but she also really accelerated once she saw daylight, and she's ridden out in here. This is a really easy win for her. I know that when she broke her maiden last September, it was only at the Meadowlands. It probably wasn't a good field. She only got a 57 buyer. She was really good winning that day. And she's just super handy, Dan. I mean, she's got a great running style for this race. She has a big pedigree behind her. I think she's super dangerous in here. I don't think she's going to be 10-1, but if she was, I would take it.
I don't think she'll be 10-1 either, but I have a feeling she's going to be finishing off this race as she has in her last 2, running on strongly. She's a very powerful late threat. The 9 is Royalty Interest. And we talk about Chad Brown getting these European yearlings at big prices. Royalty Interest was kind of a bargain, sold for like $54,000 or something like that. Still did well in her debut for Chad, and Chad does this. Runs his nice horses at Tampa Bay and maiden special weights. Royalty Interest showed some tactical speed on the outside. She takes over the lead, and she goes on to win. I don't think this field was bad at all. The runner-up came back to finish second at Keeneland in a maiden special with a 74 and has since graduated.
Yeah, I thought this field was okay, too. She just trounced this field. She got a good trip in here. She took over basically on her own in the upper stretch and basically won that race without really being asked. I mean, I thought that was a really, really nice debut. As you've already mentioned, Chad seems to do that. He runs his good turf horses down there. This might be one of his good ones.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Penn Oaks. We're kicking off a 50-cent pick 4. That's where you're going, Mike. You're going with the 9, Royalty Interest. Tremendous amount of upside, as does the 8, Selenaya. Princess Patina is sort of the known commodity in this race. I like the fact that she has one from on the lead and from off the pace. I think they'll play the break. I don't love the price. She would have to be more than 2-1 for me to bet her, and I'm not sure she will be.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they bet the race, Dan. I have no argument with Princess Patina. I kind of wanted to give the 2 outside horses just maybe a little bit more of a look, perhaps at better prices. I sided with the Chad horse because I was really taken by that debut, but it all comes down to price because I thought the 8's been very good in her last 2 starts.
9853 for Mike, 5689 for me. It's a nice card at Penn National on Friday night. Penn Mile Friday. This race is the Penn Oaks, and it kicks off a 50-cent pick 4. Good luck.